Hello everyone. I'm Katrine Wyld, the head of Tom Scoping Project, and today we have a very special guest, uh, Ken Wilson. Hello, Ken.
Hi, Katrine. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What about you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's a lovely sunny morning here in London.
Oh, and it's been raining in Siberia, so you see, we have different
Well,
situations.
we need the rain. We need the rain.
Exactly. Ken, can you tell us more about yourself, about your teaching training experience?
Okay, hello. I'm Ken Wilson, and I've been working in English language teaching for more than 50 years, so longer than all of you have been alive. And in the first years, I was a teacher. Now, of course, I'm a native speaker teacher, and I do hate this distinction between native speaker teachers and non-native speaker teachers. But the first difference was that I worked in London with a multilingual class. So I had 14 students in the class maximum, which is great, and there could be 5 or 6 different nationalities in the room. Now, most of my peers, the people who do what I do, teacher train, write books about methodology, we all started in that working circumstance, teaching a multilingual class. This represents about 3% of the teaching situations around the world. So the first thing we should do as teacher trainers is recognize the situation for the majority of teachers. And that's what I hope to do as a teacher trainer, because after I worked as a
Uh-huh.
teacher in London, I then joined a theatre company called the English Teaching Theatre, and we took a show for learners of English around the world. We went to 55 different countries. Well, I didn't go to 55 as an actor, I was the director after a while. But we took our show to 55 different countries where, of course, the audiences were monolingual audiences. And during that time, I was lucky enough to be able to watch a lot of classes given by non-native speaker teachers. And I
Uh-huh.
say, I don't like this distinction between native and non-native. But unfortunately, in the world, there is still an idea that we, the native speakers, are somehow experts in teaching languages. And this could not be more wrong. I really believe that the people who really know about teaching the language are the people who learned English first and then went on to teach it. And the best situation, certainly for beginners and elementary students, is when the teacher in front of you is somebody who speaks your language
Mhm.
and learned English from your language perspective. So I want to just say that to start with, that I am a native speaker and people call me an expert, but I'm only an expert because I'm really old and I've been doing this for a long time. And that's my only expertise comes from experience. My expertise has nothing to do with me being a native speaker. In fact, me being a native speaker for many of us is actually a problem because we do not understand the reality
Mhm.
for teaching in the rest of the world. So that's my main thing. I want to just tell teachers before I say anything to them. Um, so I've been very fortunate because I had this experience of being a teacher and a teacher trainer and working with my theatre company. And then when I became a bit too old to go on stage and play the guitar, so when I was about 42, I
Mm.
realized I was on stage playing the guitar like I was some kind of teenager with this show, and I thought I've got to stop doing this now. And I sat at home thinking, what shall I do now? And by serendipity, an invitation came through the door to write or to join a team writing course materials. So I've been writing course materials for the last 25 years. And during that time, of course, I've also produced a lot of audio.
Mhm.
I tried to produce the audio for the books that I write. And I think, again, watching classrooms where listening is the key has been of great interest to me. And this is why my talk for you next week will be called "Is Anybody Listening?"
Mhm.
Because it's a fascinating situation. And one of the things I find most extraordinary is the way in which we believe as teachers, we're standing there, a Russian teacher, a Brazilian teacher, doesn't matter
Uh-huh.
who it is, standing there with their personality, with their facial expressions, with their enthusiasm, and
Mhm.
delivering aspects of the language. Somehow, these people believe it's actually useful to stop speaking and to switch on a machine in the corner and have some voice coming out of this machine, a native
Oh.
speaker voice, and that might be more useful for the students to listen to than the teacher themselves. And so I find that quite extraordinary. But the main reason why I want to do this talk is really about asking teachers if they are working on allowing their students or encouraging their students to listen to each other. This is the third aspect of the listening to the teacher, listening to that stupid machine in the corner, which I think can be often a waste of time. But the third aspect is, do the students listen to each other? And unfortunately, a lot of classes are designed, if you like, or the natural way that classes work is that everybody concentrates on the teacher. The teacher is the central force in the room. And if I can make one observation about non-native speaker teachers in certain societies, is that they do allow themselves to be the main focus of the class all the time. And this, I think, is a serious, serious problem. That the focus of the class should be the students themselves interacting with each other. But the problem often is the students often don't like it. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Teacher stands at the front, the normal classroom of chairs in front of each other, which is a terrible way to learn a language. If you're looking at the back of somebody's head, and the teacher sits somebody on the front row, ask them a factual question. What's the capital of Peru? And the student says, Lima. Say, Lima, correct. What's the capital of Argentina? Buenos Aires, says the student. Buenos Aires, well done. What's happening all the time is the teacher is repeating the answer. So the concentration of the students is always on the teacher, not on the person who answered. And if you just try one little thing, which is to say, what's the capital of Lima? What's the capital of Peru? The student says Lima. I said, very good. Did you all hear that? The student will say, well, no, I wasn't.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, ask her. They go, what? Ask her. She's the one who knows. Okay. So they ask. And that's the start. But it's the start of a process which is really very good for the students because it encourages them to listen to each other and to learn from each other, to learn aspects of language, to learn new words. There's 1 or 2 activities I'm going to do with you where I hope students will learn new words from each other, but also to learn a little bits of factual information. And you as the teacher, you cannot be the fountain of information about everything in the world. You should know more English than your students, but why should you know more about sport or music, or information technology? As soon as you're a teacher, it probably means you're over 21. And if you're over 21, you're an adult. As far as a 14-year-old is concerned, if you're 22 years old, you may as well be 92 years old. You are no longer from their group, okay? You are outside their group. So the chances that you know about social media and information technology are zero, or the realities of modern. So, we always think, oh, I know about social media. I know about Facebook. Facebook? Facebook is about nearly 20 years old now. What's Facebook? Do you know about TikTok? What? So it's this kind of, it's constantly changing, and that's fine. It's not a problem for you, the teacher. You don't have to keep up because your students, if you have teenage students, they will keep up for you. If you have adult students, that's not quite the same problem. But these are the things I'm interested in, generally speaking. As I say, as a native speaker teacher, I try and take away this ridiculous idea that people like me are better at things. And particularly, and I don't want to be rude about native speakers, but if a 21, 22-year-old native speaker turns up in your town and starts teaching the language, anybody who's come from a British school system now does not learn about grammar anymore. They don't teach grammar, which is fine. They teach about communication in English studies at schools, which is great. So people can leave school, leave university without knowing what an adjective is, and then, but if that person then goes into teaching, it really is quite useful to know what an adjective is. So when they come on our training courses, our initial CELTA training courses, it's extraordinary how little native speakers, and they can be great people with great communication skills, but they know absolutely nothing about how language works. Whereas your teachers, your Russian teachers, done the hard work. They learnt the language, they enjoyed the language, and then hopefully they went to teacher training college where they were given some kind of methodology. So this is my main thing, to support and encourage non-native speaker teachers, because not only are you the majority in the world, 95% of teachers in the world of English are non-native speaker teachers, and about 95% of classes are monolingual classes. This is the reality. What you do is the reality. What I do is a niche, a small thing.
That's wonderful, very impressive experience. And Ken, I personally look forward to listening to your speech and to a workshop. And when I firstly saw one of your speeches online, I was really impressed when you shared your ideas. It was really wow, and having you among top 3 speakers is really great. The teachers already contacted our team asking questions about different speakers, about you, and about the program. Actually, everybody can read more about your workshop on our official website, the details of that. And it's great that the audience will be able to ask questions through Zoom, actually even talk to you. And we all look forward to fruitful discussions and further collaborations, probably, because what you're saying is really surprising. It was surprising for me to hear that, and for most Russian teachers of English, we see things differently. Absolutely agree with you, because yes, it's not our native language, but there are some advantages of that, as you said. That's wow. We should praise ourselves a little bit. Okay.
It's much better. It's much better. It's much better for you, you know, because the teacher knows the things that she found difficult when she was learning, and that when they get to that part, she'll have to spend a little bit more time on it. A native speaker doesn't know that thing about a language group that he or she goes to. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Because we're all locked down, we can't go anywhere. I mean, it's been a very strange experience for people like me who would normally go, you know, and I probably, my carbon footprint is terrible as a result. You know, I might make about 6 or 7 visits to other countries every year to do training, and which I really enjoy. But I'm aware with lockdown that doing these things online can be quite enjoyable and useful as well. But also the fact is, I'm contributing to improving the environment by not flying anywhere, you know, and I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, you know, you live in a city, and we live in a city that the air quality in London has improved by 80% because there are hardly any planes, because of the planes not flying. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's really incredible. So out of this terrible situation, there are certain advantages, and I think because you know, Katrine, I want to thank you very much for inviting me to do this, because I am now able to accept invitations to do the strangest things. You know, on Sunday I did a talk for a group of teachers to do an online drama training course, which is organized by a woman in Buenos Aires, Argentina. So the group it's a multinational group around the world. And I was, again, just sitting here at home. It's nice with the same picture, this painting by my daughter behind me, and 2 teddy bears that you can see as well. My constant companions. Okay, so thank you very much for asking me to do this. I'm looking forward. I'll see you guys again on Monday, and goodbye for now. Take care.
Thank you very much, Ken. Bye-bye.